Good morning, Renee.
Good morning, Clarissa. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so happy to have you on the show this morning. So you are in Rossay, and your store is called Byer's Boutique.
That's right.
And so tell us a little bit about how you got into the world of skincare.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting story. Like many entrepreneurs, you don't really know what you're going to do when you go into business for yourself, but you have that feeling that you want to do your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I always had that. So I actually went to NBCC in St. John, and I graduated from business administration, investment management. So I started in my career working in a bank. And this is relevant to the skincare, I promise.
Mm-hmm.
So I started as a financial advisor at Scotiabank. And when I was there, I was younger than I am now. And I'm short. So if you were to see me in person, I'm a very short gal. And I usually have blonde hair. And I'm a very upbeat kind of person. So when you come into my office and I'm bright and bubbly and happy and short and blonde and look very young, you don't automatically trust this person to know what to do with your money or how to guide you to plan for retirement or anything really. Mm-hmm. They look at you and they kind of think, well, what could she know?
Right.
Right.
That's an interesting perception. When we think of, when we think of certain roles, and it shouldn't be there. It should not be there, right? But it is an interesting perception, right?
Yeah. And it's not like it was ever directly said to me, but sometimes they would go above my head, or they'd want to see someone more experienced. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what's happening, is they don't automatically trust you. So I had to work harder to get there, to earn their trust. And while I was working with the bank, there are stressors, just like anything, any job, there's going to be parts that stress you out more than others. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I was actually experiencing adult acne.
Okay.
I had never had a problem with acne in my younger years, like not to an extreme, maybe a pimple here and there, but it was never an issue that I had ever had to deal with before. So I was kind of thrown for a loop when it started happening, and I'd have to rely on heavy makeup to cover things up. And because, on top of being short, blonde, bubbly, you walk in and you see acne. It just kind of piles up. Yeah. To work against you in a place where you need to have a very professional appearance.
Right.
So I started trying all kinds of different skincare products. They would all claim to work and be great for acne and great for sensitive skin, which is what I have. And nothing worked. I mean, I tried a lot. I tried so many. I lost count. I've spent so much money trying to find a product that would work. So the creative side of me decided that I would try to make my own product, something that was minimal ingredients, something that I could understand, because that was the other part. When you look at an ingredient list, how many names can you actually pronounce? How many names do you actually know?
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
So as just a regular person trying to find a skincare product, you would then have to buy a product. You'd have to put up the money. You'd have to try it. You'd have to look up all the ingredients to see what they are and what they could be doing. And then you may not like it. So then you have to go and you have to do it all over again. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I thought that my thought process was, if you eat healthy, your body functions better. Right? Your organs function, everything just works better. You're healthier. So would that not work with skincare too? So it led me into looking up natural alternatives for skincare. Now, this was 6 years ago, and I jumped on Pinterest, and I just threw myself in the world of making my own DIY skincare, and that's really where it started. But then I started to actually come up with products.
Okay.
And I started using them, and my face cleared up. It was the first time I'd ever experienced that. particularly like on my nose, I had a lot of blackheads, and they were visible. And when I started using my face watch, which I have here, it's kind of in my own bottle at home because that's where I happen to be. I actually saw a significant reduction in those within 3 months.
Wow.
I had never experienced anything like that. So I knew.
Sorry. So just so I understand, so you literally went from having, studying administration, but you had no background in skincare. You weren't a chemist. You weren't a scientist, and this was just something that you kind of happened upon because it was a need that you had on your own.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I just threw myself into it, and I was determined to learn how to create a skincare product that would work for me. I had no intentions of selling it in the beginning. It was more just for my own use. But as it started to work, I started to think, well, if I'm out here having this problem, there's likely another woman out there that's having the same problem. So I just decided to sell it. I started creating it, and then I started selling it at a local flea market. Something so small.
So what are I know how, the rules and regulations on setting up, a business, but
yes.
What steps did you have to take to get into selling skincare? Because I know there's a lot of, different, with each business you get into, whatever industry, there's a lot of different policies and procedures. So what did you have to do? What steps do you have to take it from something you were doing at home to be able to sell that product?
There is a lot. And I will be totally honest, when I first started, I didn't know anything. I literally just started making it and I started selling it, which I now know was completely wrong, because in the skincare business, there is a fun little thing called Health Canada.
Yes.
If you want to sell cosmetics, you need to have all of your formulations submitted to Health Canada. And that doesn't even mean that you're approved to sell it. It just means that your formulations are within the safe limits that they've deemed safe. And then they acknowledge that it's going to be for sale. On top of that, you can't make a single claim. So you have to be so careful not to make any claims about your products. You can say you've noticed an appearance or a change in your appearance, or you've noticed that it helps, but you can't specifically say what it does. I didn't know any of that when I first started. So that's something I learned along the way, shortly after I started selling. So you have to know about insurance to protect yourself.
Right.
If somebody were to have a reaction, you need to know about Health Canada and what you cannot say. You need to know what ingredients are on the hot list, so that you're making your products safe. You need to know good manufacturing practices. So you need to learn how to properly clean an area, clean your tools, clean your packaging, how to store your ingredients, how to keep track of how old your ingredients are, because everything has a shelf life.
Right.
So there is so much to it.
But kudos to you for going forward, because so often we see these, we do see, we are in, New Brunswick, there's so many flea markets, there's so many farmers markets. And so often people think, oh, it's so simple to start a business. I'm just gonna, haul out my crock pot and throw some stuff in there and bottle it and call it, tomatoes or, jam and, or skincare. But so often they don't see the back end. And, so kudos to you for going forward and being able to say, this is how much I want to help people, and this is how much I'm passionate about this, that I'm going to take the steps to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. There are many other companies that aren't aware of what's needed. So, if I ever meet anybody, it's like minds, right? You want to have the conversation. You want to know how they got started. It's a fun connection. And very often I hear that they don't know anything about these rules. So part of what I do to help with my business is I share the information that I've learned along with other smaller brands like myself. Yeah. So that's really nice too, that we can get along and share that information, make sure everybody's doing safe.
Absolutely. And that's what's so important. And especially in smaller areas and more rural areas, people are not quick to help each other because of that competition factor. And if I help you, if I give you secrets, then you might do better than me. So, but if we're all going to, rise up and rise the province up and have our own claim in economic development, we have to be able to help each other,
absolutely,
figure it out at some point, right?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So you went forward. So by this time you've decided to leave your job,
I did,
jump
yes.
into skincare, into the world of skincare, and then you decided to open a storefront.
Yeah, that was also kind of interesting because up until 2019, I was just at farmers markets. So, I was selling there a couple times a week, different markets. And then someone approached me and said, there's a business that's for sale in St. John, and it's a natural skincare store, kind of like you. Would that be something you're interested in?
Mm-hmm.
Would I? Yeah, of course. So I did actually, I went and met with the person who was selling their business, and we opted for an asset sale.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically took over everything in the shop and converted it to Byer's Boutique. So then I had my own storefront. Hindsight, there was a lot of things that I would have done differently about this process. There were certainly a lot of challenges that I was presented with, and a lot of things I actually didn't know that I thought I knew.
Right. But that's typical, right? Because,
Yes.
people don't get into business knowing everything, right?
No.
They don't know everything, and we don't know what we don't know. So sometimes we have to trip and fall along the way. We just have to fall fast and be able to get ourselves back up.
Exactly. If I were to tell anybody that I opened my first store in 2019 and then I moved my store in 2020, they probably would have looked at me like I had three heads. Mm-hmm. But it's exactly what you said. Fall fast and move on, get up and keep going. So I was recognizing that the location wasn't a good fit for my business. So within a year, actually it was within 9 months, I decided to move. Which leads us into 2020.
Mm-hmm. We can't talk without talking about 2020, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, I had a challenging 2019. It was certainly, there was so many great parts of 2019, but financially it was a challenging year. And then I moved to a new location in January 2020. I opened January 18th, and then I had to close March 24th.
And when everything kind of came to a screeching halt,
Yes.
due to the pandemic. But by this time you have some business sense. So you worked really quickly to take that e-commerce side, right?
Exactly. In my head, I kind of felt like Ross from Friends. Pivot.
How many times have we seen that cartoon or that meme, right? This year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's definitely what was screaming in my head. So prior to being shut down, I actually did not have a website. I was building it, but I was taking my good old time. Let's just say that. Because I had Facebook. Yeah. I had the storefront. So people had gotten used to just ordering from Facebook, honestly. But then I had to close the store. So I really had to get myself in gear and get my website launched. Luckily, I had some help with that because it's not my strong suit. But April 8th, so it's just shortly after closing, I launched the website. So that was a really big help to have that option for customers. But then I also had to think of ways to get the product to the customers once they ordered it. Right. Because at the time we weren't sure about, curbside pickup. Everything was kind of up in the air. So I thought, why don't I start delivering? Mm-hmm. So I am a single person running this business. So I make the products, I do the research, I do the packaging, I do the cleaning, I do the marketing, I do the books, all of that. Yeah. And now I'm a delivering person. So I've got many hats as an entrepreneur. Yeah. but it was very well received. Everybody loved that they were able to stay home, stay safe, and still get their products, their favorite products. So
and I think too, a lot of people, I know from even for myself, you know, we looked to the smaller businesses who we know were, you know, gravely impacted, you know,
yes.
and new people started reaching out too, right? To say,
Yes.
oh, I've never tried your products before, but I want to, you know, I want to help and I want to try. So did you find that, you know, you picked up new customers because of that, because they couldn't go out to the store, or, you know, they wanted to help your business?
I did, but I think it was more because I came up with several new products. So I
Okay.
created some excitement about the page, and it was shared in amongst Facebook. So I did manage to acquire a few amazing customers that way. But really, no. I'm gonna say April was a really great month for sales, and then May, June, July, August, they were quiet.
Summer, right?
Was
Summer. Everyone's
some,
focused on something else, right?
yeah,
In summer,
yeah,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. And once the Atlantic bubble opened up, I mean, people were just getting out of here because
Yeah.
we've been stuck in one spot for so long.
Yeah.
So it's understandable, but
Yeah.
tough,
Yeah.
tough for a small business
So
for sure.
we're moving into, you know, the holiday season. So how can people find you, Renee?
Yeah.
You know, talk a little bit about where your store is located, what they can experience when they go into your store, and also where the people outside of St. John region can how they can tap into your website.
Absolutely. So there are three different ways that you can shop from Byer's Boutique. So you can go to our physical store, which is located at 2 Parkdale Avenue in Rossay. So if you are from the area, if you know where Barrel's Head Pub is, I'm directly across the street. So it's really easy to find me that way. And then you can also shop from the Facebook page. You can browse the selections and it'll take you right to the website for a checkout, or you can go right to the website. And on the website, I have, you know, blog posts, I have product reviews, customer testimonials. I've got a little bit of everything on the website. So you can shop right from there as well. Normally for the holiday season, I would be going to the big fair at TD Station, Rhoda's Christmas Market.
Right.
That is an event where I'm going to say at least 15,000 people come through in the span of 3 days.
Wow.
It has been canceled this year. Of course. I mean, you have to kind of expect that at this point.
Right. Yeah.
So normally a lot of people would find me there for Christmas. So this year, the website, Facebook, or popping in store is the best way to find us.
Okay. Yeah. And you know, that's, you know, that is what COVID and the pandemic has done, right? It has canceled so many of these things that were a
Yeah.
venue for people to be able to push out their products and you know, but you know, I think that one thing that it has caused us to do is to get a little bit more comfortable with buying online,
Yeah.
and you know, UPS and all the different, you know, people. I see an increase, you know, even here in Miramichi, the increase of FedEx and UPS and the Amazon delivery guys. I'm like, oh, it's like so many people are buying online.
Exactly.
So now if people are looking, you know, for, you know, that one product, if people are out there and they're having some trouble, what do you suggest, or do you have a top favorite product in your store that you would suggest?
I of course I do. I love all my products
Yeah.
equally, just like children. But there are three main products that I use on a regular basis. So since I'm home, they don't look quite as pretty as you'll see them in store. But I use my honey face wash. This
Okay.
is one of the original products that I mentioned earlier. So I use this morning and night, at least every morning for sure. Sometimes night times get a little lazy, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur, I'm up late, so.
Yeah.
And then I also have my moisturizer. So this is my daily face cream.
Okay.
I use this morning and night for sure. It's a fantastic lightweight cream. Perfectly formulated for your face.
Okay.
Not going to leave you greasy. And then I have my clay face mask that I use once a week.
Okay.
And actually, to show the products, what I do on my page is every Sunday I host a self-care Sunday.
Okay.
So it's a live video of me showing you my end of week beauty routine.
Okay.
So you'll see me with the face mask on, or the bloopers with the water going everywhere. But people really love it. They learn a little bit about the products. They're able to ask me questions. So it's kind of a great way to engage with my customers virtually instead of in person.
That's right. And so, and I don't know who said this, if anybody's watching and they want to tell me, but somebody, once said that people don't always buy what you're selling, but they'll buy because of you, right? So, there could be places, let's face it, there's skincare everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
But people sometimes are not as attracted to, that the skincare as they are attracted to the entrepreneur or the owner, right? So that buy-in and that, that personal touch of, showing people inside your home and your skincare routine and being so transparent and so raw and honest, that's very valuable to a small business owner to be able to show that.
Absolutely. And it's very important for me, being just the average woman looking for skincare and not understanding what will work, what's safe, what's not safe, what's, anything. There's just so many options. So that was one big thing. I wanted to be completely transparent about what I use, how I use it, everything.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I am so glad that we got a chance to chat. I'm so glad I got a chance to meet you and hear all about your boutique. And I can't wait to visit it the next time that I'm in your area.
Please.
So thank you so much. And I wish you all the best in the upcoming season.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.